So I wanted to make this quick video about basically the future of my YouTube channel. So the last video that I posted was like around 4 or 5 months ago, and I'll get the sign out of the way. The reason I haven't really been uploading is I feel like I boxed myself a little bit into like the agency YouTuber sort of person, and I feel like there's still a lot of value that I can add from that perspective, right? But at the same time, I feel like the reason why people would watch a YouTube video, and also I guess also for myself with making videos, is for the person, right? That's why it's called a personal brand, not like a agency brand or whatever. So when I'm making videos in the future, I'm not going to try and like tell myself there's going to be a schedule or anything like that, because that, I feel like that would restrict me too much. And it probably will be focused kind of around agency, sales, cold email, that sort of thing, because that's where most of my expertise is so far. But I don't want to box myself in to where I can't talk about anything else, right? If you look at all my past videos up until this point, it's about cold email, picking a niche, picking a service, and I think those videos are really valuable. I could probably make them better in terms of presenting it, but I think the information in them is valuable to watch, right? So I don't think that's the issue necessarily, but there are other interests in my life. There's other things that could be going on in terms of getting involved potentially with a software deal. So I feel like I'm going to start using my YouTube channel to document, and it goes back to I feel like when you hear these things from other YouTubers, you don't ever internalize it until you come across the situation where it's needed, right? So there's a saying from Alex Hormozy which says, document, don't create, right? It might be from someone else, but he's who I heard it from. So that's what I'm basically going to be trying to use my YouTube channel for. Not sure about this angle. And I think that will allow for kind of more off-the-cuff videos like this, where I'm just holding my phone. I don't have a script, I don't have like a document I prepared, and I'm just talking to the camera. So I can start talking about other things in my life. So as a bit of a backstory, the reason I'm talking about cold email and all that stuff is because end of last year, around October, November, I was running like a cold email lead generation agency, and I think I had 6 clients at one point. But the issue there for me was I was also doing an apprenticeship. So if you don't know what that is, that's basically like an internship. It's like the UK version of that, right? So I was getting paid very little. It was taking up most of my week, and for one reason or another, there was a few clients that I wasn't able to get results for. So I ended up refunding them, right? That's the right thing to do. But what I ended up deciding was I was going to finish my apprenticeship internship, which finished this month, right? Well, last month, this is April now, finished in March. So I'm kind of deciding where I want to go. And so my plan, when I decided I was going to just finish the apprenticeship, was to restart my agency, build it back up again, work on it full time. But at the same time, there's a few things that I want to tweak, right? So part of the reason I wasn't able to get results was lack of time on my part. Other reasons were, for example, the client didn't have the right offer. So if I'm going to be doing lead generation for clients in the future, I also want to make sure that either I'm much stricter in terms of making sure they have a good offer, or I help them build an offer, right? And I can factor that into my package and my pricing. But the other kind of direction I could go is I'm potentially getting involved in a software deal, which I mentioned. And so at this point, I'm kind of at a little bit of a crossroads. So I think it'd be really interesting to watch from this point, right? Because whatever I end up doing in 3 years, this is kind of like the pivotal moment, right? This is where I decide which direction I'm going to go. It'll be like in the next few weeks, right, where I kind of decide and make the decisions that impact the rest of my life. So yeah, that's just like a little update where I've been. for the 3 people who watch this, right? But mostly I'm going to be making this to look back on for myself. And then if I put out, 200 videos and then some people start watching it, then that's awesome. But I think that mindset shift for me, where it's going to be for me documenting so that I can look back on it, and I can learn to look at the camera rather than my face. Yeah, I think it'll be good for me, and hopefully anyone who does watch will find it valuable in terms of why I make the decisions I make, but also being more transparent and like not presenting myself as like the expert, right? Because there's some things that I'm fairly knowledgeable about, for example with cold email, but there's other things I don't know about, like I'm getting back into the gym, right? I've kind of been on and off with that, so I can talk about that. I can talk about other things, healthy habits, that sort of thing. Being able to focus on work, that's something I struggle with from time to time. So I can kind of add in these other aspects of my life where it just kind of shows a more real version of someone behind the camera. Because before, when I was making my videos, as I mentioned, it was either scripted or it was I made a document or a slideshow, and that was good. It kept me on track, right? Because I'm not very good at just speaking to the camera yet. Obviously that's a skill that you learn as you go, but at the same time it felt, even though I wouldn't say my videos were polished necessarily, like I did no editing, they probably weren't planned very well, but the way I planned them, right, was to position myself in a position of authority, right, which is great for trying to get clients. And maybe I'll end up, if I do decide to push with my lead generation agency, I'll kind of push more like authority content. But even if I do that, there'll still be like the real moments, right? I'll be showing what I know, but I'll also be showing what I don't know at the same time, and showing how I find out what I don't know and how I learn, and yeah, everything like that. So if that sounds interesting and you're not already subscribed, then I'm gonna have to get used to saying this, but hit the subscribe button. And yeah, that's pretty much it.